Welcome to Standard Deviant School. I'm Laura Hopewell. Today's program is multiplying and dividing fractions. With whole numbers, multiplying and dividing takes more work than adding or subtracting. Not so with fractions. Multiplying and dividing fractions is easier than subtracting or adding them. Now, here's what's coming up.
Cool. Okay, first we'll show you how to multiply fractions together. Then it's on to dividing fractions, which is almost just like multiplying fractions. Right after that, we'll break down mixed numbers. Let's get multiplying. Multiplying fractions is easier than adding or subtracting them because you don't need to worry about having a common denominator. To multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators together, resulting in your product's numerator. And then you multiply your denominators together, resulting in your product's denominator. See?
So let's say you want to multiply 4/3 times 5/8. You multiply the numerators, 4 times 5, to get 20 for your product's numerator. Then you multiply the denominators, 3 times 8, to equal 24 for your answer's denominator. So your answer is 20 over 24.
That fraction can be reduced. Both numbers in the fraction are divisible by 4. 20 divided by 4 equals 5, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. So our simplified product then is 5/6.
That's it for multiplying fractions. Remember, multiplication saves time and effort.
Now, we'll look at dividing fractions.
For example, let's try to divide 8/3 by 4/6.
Instead of trying to figure out how many times 4/6 goes into 8/3, we just use the fact that division is the inverse of multiplication in order to find the answer. Pretty easy, huh?
So instead of dividing by 4/6, we flip it to make it 6/4. 6/4 is known as the reciprocal of 4/6.
The reciprocal of a fraction is just the fraction flipped over. Like the reciprocal of 8/10 is 10/8. Hey! Put me down!
We flipped the fraction 4/6 to make it 6/4. After flipping one fraction, we just multiply the two fractions like we did before. We multiply 8/3 times 6/4 in the same way we did earlier. We multiply the numerators, 8 and 6, to get 48, and the denominators, 3 and 4, to get 12. Our fraction is 48 over 12.
We need to take one more step in this problem.
48/12 can be reduced because both numbers are divisible by 12. So we divide 48 by 12 to get 4, and then divide 12 into 12 to get 1. Our answer is 4 over 1, or just 4. Why just 4? Because 4 divided by 1 is 4. So the answer to 8/3 divided by 4/6 is 4.
Remember, to multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. Next, you reduce the fraction if possible. To divide fractions, you have to first flip one fraction over to find the reciprocal. Then, you just multiply the fractions and simplify your answer.
A mixed number is any number that contains an integer and a fraction, like 3 and 1/6. Anytime you're working with mixed numbers, you first want to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction.
What's an improper fraction? Well, an improper fraction is one which has a larger numerator than denominator, so it's kind of top-heavy.
Our first step in this problem is to rewrite 3 and 1/6 and 2 and 1/3 to make them improper fractions.
We make them improper fractions because everyone loves a rebel who flouts the conventions of society.
Actually, it's because you need common denominators in order to add fractions, and you can't do that with mixed numbers. There are two ways to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. Here's the first way.
Okay. You want to convert the 3 into an improper fraction that is the same denominator as the fraction. All right. The 6 is the denominator. So we want to make our whole number, 3, a fraction that has 6 as the denominator. Go ahead, do it.
How do you do this? The best way is to multiply your whole number times the denominator in your fraction. So you multiply 3, the whole number, times 6, the denominator. 6 times 3 equals 18. 18 is your numerator. 6 remains the denominator. You haven't changed the value of your fraction. 3 is the same thing as 18/6 because 6 can be divided into 18 3 times. Now you just add 18/6, your whole number, to 1/6, your fraction, to equal 19/6. 19/6 is the same value as 3 and 1/6. You got an improper fraction.
You multiply the whole number in your fraction times the denominator, then add the numerator. So, for this mixed number, you multiply the whole number, 2, times the denominator, 3, which equals 6. Then you just add the numerator, 1, to equal 7. This is the numerator in your improper fraction. The denominator stays the same. So 2 and 1/3 equals 7/3.
We now add 19/6 plus 7/3. We add the fractions just like we have in the past.
We first find the lowest common denominator of 6 and 3. The factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Since 3 is the other denominator and it's a factor of 6, we know that 6 is the denominator. So 19/6 stays the way it is since it already has 6 as a denominator. To make 7/3 have a denominator of 6, we must multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2. That gives us a new fraction of 14/6.
Now that the denominators are the same, we can add the two fractions.
Leaving the denominators the same, we can add the numerators 14 and 19, so the sum is 33/6. We're almost done. We can reduce the fraction because both numbers are divisible by 3. So we divide each number by 3 to get 11 over 2, or 11/2.
You can either leave the fraction this way, or convert it back to a mixed number.
We convert it back to a mixed number by dividing the denominator into the numerator. So 11 divided by 2 is 5 with a remainder of 1. The remainder is the numerator of the new fraction with 5 as the whole number. The denominator stays the same. So 3 and 1/6 plus 2 1/3 equals 5 and 1/2.
If you missed something during the show, don't worry. We're going over everything one more time.
To multiply fractions, multiply the numerators 2 and 3, giving us 6. And then multiply the denominators 5 and 5, giving us 25. To divide fractions, flip over the fraction doing the dividing, and then multiply the fractions. 1/5 times 3/2 gives us 3/10. A mixed number is any number that contains an integer and a fraction, like 1 3/4. An improper number is where the numerator is greater than the denominator, like 10/6.
Well, my fraction friends, we multiplied, we divided, and now we have to go. I'm Laura Hopewell. Thanks for watching Standard Deviant School. See you later.